Alright, we're filling and chilling. Today I have my 78 cubic foot tank. 78? Whatever the size tank is. I got my 98 that I used to keep upstairs, but I changed my air gunning around a little bit, that now I'm more down here. So I'm swapping that tank down here. Filling my 72 or 78 cubic foot, whatever the hell it is. Filling that right now. I wanted to go over the scopes, like I've been saying for like a month now. Alright, if you are looking for a scope right now for around $200, I highly recommend this Arken SH-4 Gen 2 4x16x50. That thing is... See, I did the scope review like a couple weeks back, and for some reason, maybe I am wrong, but for some reason, I'm pretty sure that scope was $400 something. I don't make any money if you do it, but if you go on Amazon right now, it's on sale. It's way less than $460. It's $225 in America. I was recommending in a video I was watching, I was gonna comment to some dude, I'm like, hey, you should get this scope. And then I knew he was in the UK, so I'm like, all right, before I actually send this comment, I'm gonna go to a UK site. That scope is $470 in the UK. If you live in the United States, buy this scope. I 100% recommend it. If you have a Hawk, what the hell is it? Hawk Vantage IR. Costs more money than that scope. It's crazy the options that has on it, and even if you use the recommended scope rings, which are from Arken and fit that thing perfectly, torque down 100%, it's friggin' awesome. Works perfect. You're talking it's under $300 for that setup. This setup, which is my original, this was my other scope that I had before, the first one I got. It's an Element Optics Helix 4x16x44. So it's pretty much the same thing as that. This is still my favorite scope. It's double the price of that Arken, but it is just extremely nice. It weighs much less than the Arken. The only negative I can really say about the Arken is it's pretty heavy. This thing is very comparable to that. So if you're on a budget build, I don't know what your budget's gonna be, but for optics, if you're talking under $300 for optics on something pretty nice, you can't go wrong with that Arken, I don't think. All right, I'm gonna go check on the compressor real quick. Now, all three of these are made in China. I was kind of pissed to find out that that was also made in China. That still bothers me. These companies, what they do is they have lower end scopes. The $460 scope is low end to them, but to like the average person, you're gonna be like, wow, $460 scope. Shit, that costs more than the gun that I'm gonna put it on. Which, in this case, the scope costs pretty much as my gauntlet. It's kind of crazy. All right, so anyway, so these companies, the lower end scopes, like this Element Optics Helix, they have separate lines, which are their high-end lines. You're talking probably it's gonna be, I would imagine it's gonna be double the price of my Helix. And those are made in Japan or some other country. You're not gonna get those made in China. The fact that this scope is comparable to these two for half the price. With this being made in China, and this being made in China, and that being made in China, having all the same similar abilities from the scope from what I've been seeing. The turrets all have the same features. They all come with sunshades. They all have pretty much the same adjustments. This one has a little bit better magnification. And this one costs $500. It's not as good as the Helix. I would say it's comparable to the $225 Arken. So once again, I'll say it friggin' 20 times. You're on a budget, get that Arken. If you're thinking about a Hawk, get the Arken. That Arken destroys my Hawk Vantage IR 4x16. Destroys it. And it's cheaper than it. Alright, so for someone who's like, you know, an enthusiast like me, you're not like some sharpshooter or something, gonna be doing something absolutely insane. I don't see how you can go wrong with that. It is... The glass on it is very clean. You're getting a $500 optic right now. So if you are in the US, I would 100% recommend that. And it was kind of funny, I'm looking up like these laws. Can I ship a scope outside the US? Don't even think about that. Don't even think about sending a laser outside the US. These countries classify these items as if they're like you're building... I was making a joke, like as if you're building like some like guidance system to like a missile or something. What the hell? That's insane. You just can't export them. It'll have some... There's some marking on it or like some abbreviation or whatever that will stand for whether or not it's regulated. Not that I'm planning on shipping them out. I just didn't understand why there are just massive differences in price. I was thinking it was probably some import thing, but I guess, well, maybe it is. I guess they just tax the shit out of the imports. The only complaint I have for that is that it's heavy. It's probably... I can't say it's twice the weight, but it feels like twice the weight. It definitely isn't, but it's definitely a big boy. You could probably throw that thing out of like a... You could probably run that thing over with a Humvee and it'll still work. So, I don't really know what else to say about scopes in general. I just know that if you were looking at one of these three and we're going, hey, what should I get? If you saw this video, it would be that one. I feel like scopes are going to be very, very specific to each individual person. Especially if you have issues with your eyes. I have astigmatism, and obviously I'm wearing glasses. If you wear glasses and you want a holographic, I have to put contacts in to actually see the holographic, like an EOTech. Or else it's just very, very blurry. I don't have any issues with that on these. There are definitely going to be some minute details in each scope. And when you go over all these things, it's kind of off-putting, even for me. I mean, I try to do a good amount of research, but you don't really know 100% until you have it. And once you start firing, and like you know, you get to see the eye relief, because follow-up shots and trying to get, you know, figured back in. Some of them can be... I know a lot of people struggle trying to even figure out where to rest their eye if they don't know how to shoot. And you're gonna have to mount these in like pretty specific spot, because once you get that gun up to your shoulder, pretty much right here is perfect. You don't want to be doing this, which for these scopes, they have pretty short eye relief. So you will have to kind of fine tune where you want them to be. And I'm extremely picky on these. Just perfect shoulder, pushed in a little bit, and it sits right where I need it to be. You get a couple inches of relief where you can find that like kind of like sweet spot. But I've had sights where even on the Picatinny rails, one step, like one notch forward or backwards is too much. You might have to just slightly move the scope inside the rings and get like absolute perfect precise amount of distance from for your eye. So if you're dealing with those issues, that's what you pretty much have to do. You want that scope to have a full picture in it. You don't want to be looking at little, you know, I don't know how to describe it, little small images in there. Alright, I gotta check the compressor in. Alright, to wrap things up, if you were looking at the Vortex Venom, the Element Optics Helix, or the Arken Gen 2 4x16x50, get the Arken. I really can't say for the money, now that I've had all three, if I would ever buy these again. This one is by far the best. But for the price difference, it just doesn't make sense to me. And I'll admit something here. I've actually bought 3 of these now. I have so many different guns that I needed optics for that just had nothing. Not even irons. And I bought the first one just to try. And it turned out so well that I just couldn't believe it. And I'm like, wow, that thing works out. Might as well buy another one while they're on sale. Maybe it's like a one-time thing, they're just gone. I don't know, maybe they're just normally that price, but I bought a second one. I threw that on the Texan there. My first one's on the Blitz. But that thing on the Texan now, because I had that little $50 sight with the laser that's on the Zeus. Of all things, it's on the Zeus. But I took that off. I'm like, I gotta put a proper scope on this thing. So I put that on there, and then I got another one coming in because I'm like, this is just an insane deal for the money. In my price range, it's an insane deal. So that new one's gonna go on the Zeus. And then I gotta figure out something for the hammer, because that just has my little red dot on it. Which is fine. I don't mind red dots for small, like close distances. Maybe I should get a magnifier and try those out, and try and do some long range shooting with the red dot. But if it's a typical just unmagnified red dot, I'm good with. I don't know. If I feel like if I go beyond 100-ish feet, I'm not doing anything, precise with it. I just find that the red dot in there, you think you can be on target like a bullseye, and even on the smallest illumination settings, so it's not taking up as much, I find it's still too big. Like you think you're hovering over the bullseye, but it's not dead center. It's off just a tiny little bit. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's the glasses, because I know with the holographic that my glasses messed that up. I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm just trying to give out, my experience, my somewhat educated experience, because I've been doing so much research, and still I don't know a whole lot. I'm trying. The worst part is going into something, taking a risk, and then not knowing. Especially if it involves a lot of money. I don't mind doing risks like that where it's like $50 or something. I don't like wasting money. I'd rather just have something one and done, unless I'm playing around for fun. This is kind of my one and done. I really, from my level, I can't really justify spending anything beyond this for an optic. It just doesn't make sense to me to spend more than that when that thing is capable of performing, I'd say, pretty similar to these two. I'm not a good enough shooter to warrant spending more than that. I don't know. The only benefit you're getting from these two versus that, I would say, is just weight. That's the biggest difference. So if you don't care about the weight, get the Arken. Alright, that compressor's about to shut off, so I'll go check on that. And we'll call this a day. Alright? See ya.